sword is too large to conquer. All the people we saw are very tall. We saw the Nephilim, people there. The Anakites came from the Nephilim people. We felt like grasshoppers, and we looked like grasshoppers to them. That's an image. These guys already gave up. God wasn't asking for that. And that's the first time that I noticed that. He wasn't really asking. He just said, go look at it. I'm going to give you this land. And they said, we can't do it. And they were right. They couldn't. But God wasn't saying for them to do it. God was going to give that to them. But instead, they said no. And through the next few chapters, all the way to Numbers 33, if you want to go Numbers 33, at the very beginning of the chapter, it says, and these are all the places the Israelites went as Moses and Aaron led them out of Egypt. And there is a huge list of all the places that they roamed around in the wilderness. They went through all of that. All of these places that didn't measure up. They were a poor substitute. They weren't even a good substitute. They were imitations. Finally, whenever all the naysayers were dead, that's when they could actually receive the blessing, the rest of the people. All the people that said, no, we can't. God said, you're right, you can. He let them have their imitation. They could have had the blessing. They could have had what God laid out for them. A real cheeseburger. You know how long it took me to get this burger? This burger took 3 minutes tops. From the time that they took my order, to the time they took my money, to the time they handed it to me, said, have a nice day, enjoy the gas. Okay, they didn't say the last part, but they might as well have. This one that I made, you know, it took a lot more work. It took a lot more money. You know, I had to go to the store. I had to prepare it. I had to prepare it by hand. I had to take ingredients off the shelf and had to add them at the right time. I had to prepare the place to cook the meat. I had to put it all together myself. It took time out of a busy schedule. It took finances that I could have gone in 3 minutes. But man, so much more satisfying. We have, as a whole, and I'm the king of fast food. Look at this. We settle too much. We settle too much for the cheap imitation instead of taking the blessing that God wants for us. Don't settle. Don't settle. And that's a broad spectrum. If you're a single person, don't settle. Don't settle except for God's best for you. Don't settle for some cheap imitation for what the world says. If you have a calling in your life, don't settle. Don't settle. And if it seems like God isn't answering your prayers, or God hasn't spoken to you in a while, God, are you there? I assure you, He's there. Sometimes, if He hasn't spoken in a while, it's because we haven't listened and done what He's told us in the past. I don't know if you watch The Voice, Blake Shelton. Okay? Sorry. Right here. God isn't speaking to you like, oh, I miss how God used to move. God hasn't moved. God is still the same as He was when He was so full in your life. He wants that joy back in your life that Satan so wants to steal and kill that joy in you. God isn't, we're not supposed to live that way. Abundant life, does that mean that we're all going to have our wallets just busting out the seams? No. It's not an abundant life by the world's standards. And maybe that's God's calling for you. But an abundant life has joy and blessings and purpose, fulfillment, peace. Don't settle for anything less. Aaron, can you come up here, brother? I'm going to give you